And on the season 7 fucking finale. Jesus, it hurts just saying it. So the Summit of the Seven get together to see if they can bury the collective hatchet before Westeros is collectively buried in a zombie-flavored blizzard. Never saw that flavor at Dairy Queen, did you? The Lannisters both mend in ways that we never thought possible and break in ways that we always knew were inevitable. Theon reconciles the tug-of-war between himself and the two houses that he represents before he finds the eye of the tiger. I mean the Kraken. Baelish finally gets his dirty laundry aired out for all to see, and the Stark sisters decide to leave him wide open to new opportunities. See, like open like his throat, you get it? And in collaboration with Brazzers, HBO has created a scientifically calculated and controlled litmus test on how down American television audiences are with incest.
I wish incest porn had a more mainstream appeal for a friend of mine.
I guess it's cool. I guess we're into it. The wall comes down. Comes down real good. Do not worry, y'all. Tormund ain't dead. I mean, he's still got to get back and give Jon and Dany a scared straight sex talk. Beyond the Wall edition. Haha, come on, boy. My name is Tormund Giantsbane, and I'm a sex addict. Tell you one thing, boy, it's a slippery slope. Slippery as a baby seal. You have your gateway drugs, you know, ginger wildling. But then next thing you know, you're banging distant cousins and nieces, nephews, maybe even an aunt. Then you start jerking into National Geographic. Start with bunny rabbits and caribou and elk, just to see how it feels. They look a lot more attractive these days, huh? Then one day you wake up, loincloth deep in a big, hairy So Bronn and Jaime are waiting for everybody to show up, and they're sitting there waxing philosophic about why men fight. After a little deduction, they figure out that it's basically due to their cocks, lack thereof, or their ability to use it. Then everybody decides to show up, and if that Beyond the Wall squad in episode 6 got you hard, then this here powwow is gonna put a hole in your fucking chainmail. I mean, we got everybody in this thing. We got the Hound and Brienne, who look like a couple of proud parents at teacher conference day, all beaming about Arya and how deadly their little baby is. Oh, I'm so proud. You know, there's a little bit of contention here and there, but basically they use this opportunity to go for some straight up schmaltz. Mostly between Tyrion and Bronn and Podrick the Rod Dick. Even though the really nice one was with Bronn and old T-Bone, who really didn't get a chance to reunite when they set up that meeting with Jaime back in episode 5.
It's good to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
Oh, giving me the warming feelies. I love it. Again, something we're not really that used to in this world or this story until pretty recent. I mean, shit, if they get any more schmaltzy, this shit's gonna turn into an ABC family sitcom.
It's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page.
So we all get to the Dragon Pit, and there are so many overlapping storylines that work in this scene is that if you drew up a fucking Venn diagram of how everyone relates to one another, it looked like one of those bohemian-style tie-dyed posters that your jam band-loving THC-soaked roomie from college used to hang in your dorm room window. You know, and honestly, other than that slightly out-of-place trauma-esque kind of bit with Qyburn, like holding Bill's animated hand, you know, this scene was, you know, pretty character consistent and a lot of damn fun. Euron digging in at the end. You got Cersei and Dany are trading glares. Sandor straight up fucking confirms Clegane Bowl with a kind of understated WWF throwdown call out to the Mountain's fucking face.
You know who's coming for you. You've always known.
Oh my God! What the hell did he mean by that?
So after everything kind of comes to the head and Jon sort of shits the bed diplomatically by not lying, which forces Tyrion to have to run in and fix it with Cersei, we come to an agreement. And that basically kind of sums up the scene. The nature of Game of Thrones, by and large, is coming to an end. And now the gang are going to have to fight for the right to exist, let alone rule in the Seven Kingdoms at all. Which brings us to... So after Jon's Boy Scout antics that seemingly shit the bed, Tyrion decides to risk his neck for the entirety of the Seven Kingdoms to have a one-on with Cersei the Cray-Cray. And this was among the best acted scenes of the entire season. It reminds you how much fucking fun it was watching these two duke it out week to week back in seasons 2 and 3. Lena, ever the fucking MVP, crushes all of her material yet again. And then Peter Dinklage and the writers do a really fantastic job of kind of emotionally navigating this scene. He needs to be tough and practical to get close to Cersei, but then has to tug at the heartstrings with the "I love your dead kids" card to avoid getting turned into the quarter man by Sir Gregor in the back. It's a really lovely scene played by a couple of seasoned pros who just are the part, and it was a pleasure to watch. And that brings us to the second Lannister scene, and it is probably one of the two scenes that I have the most quarrels with in this episode. The drama of it was incredibly powerful and expertly acted by Nikolai and Lena. I gotta admit the truth. Jaime should have died.
No! No, no, no! Hell no! 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 No!
What? No.
I know you don't want to hear it, but it's fucking true. Prophecy and redemption arc be damned. Now I know we all love Jaime, and we want to see Jaime end up being Cersei's ultimate undoing. But this episode, and furthermore this season, I think really needed that old school germ curveball to throw us off balance. And this is where we could have gotten it. It would have arguably been probably the biggest surprise of the season, delivering the maximum emotional punch and narratively furthering along Cersei's turn to the Mad Queen and the biggest bitch in Westeros. I mean, just think about how bittersweet that scene could have been. He's walking across the map room knowing that he's going to get a sword in the back from the mountain, but he does it anyway. Kind of reminds me of that scene with David Carradine at the end of Kill Bill Part 2. Here's a man knowing his impending fate, owning up to his evil deeds, realizing that he's enabled and fed into this unstoppable force that is now going to be his ultimate undoing. He still decides to stand as his own man finally and die with some kind of dignity. And also, quick question. She told the mountain to kill Jaime, and then it just didn't happen. Did that big zombie bastard just have a last second change of heart too? I mean, was it all just a big practical joke? Like some of those punk ass prank channels that you find on YouTube?
Today I'm gonna pretend to steal people's gas out of their car.
Today I'm gonna be pretending to pee on people. Let's see how they react.
I'll disobey her, and then she's gonna tell you to kill me, and then we totally won't do it. Fucking hilarious. And then when Cersei starts getting super pissed, they'll all be like,
Ah, bro, hey, it's a prank. Chill. It's a prank!
All jokes aside, I do feel that that is what should have happened. It would have thrown a monkey in the wrench as far as all of this prophecy shit goes, which honestly I don't really like. I think it makes the show seem kind of predictable. And this would have served us that classic old school vintage piping hot cup of go fuck yourself. I mean, honestly, we haven't really had a scene like that since Oberyn versus the Mountain back in season 4. And it would have elevated that line,
I told you no one walks away from me.
From a poignant but ultimately empty threat into,
You broke my heart. You broke my heart.
This one has my vote for the most emotionally stirring scene of the episode. I mean, it really is something special when you think about how all of us were feeling towards the end of season 2, probably wanting nothing more to see Theon's traitorous head on a fucking spike. Cut to now, and we're literally chanting his name when he succeeds. It's fucking crazy. I mean, only Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, and The Wire can do this shit. Even though I totally dug the slugfest that culminated with this scene, it was that little moment of tough but fair encouragement between Jon and Theon and Alfie Allen's truly lyrical performance throughout these last 7 seasons. It really got my manly feels going. Even though there was one little final touch on this scene that I think would have made it absolutely perfect.
Brothers gotta hug.
And that is the picture wrap on old Peter. One of the most fascinating characters that this show and this mythos has ever produced. With an absolutely iconic performance by Ian Gillan. And quite honestly, ladies, if y'all are about that cool, smoky voice, do not look up any interview footage of your boy, because it turns out he is a really good actor.
The great pleasure of this gig was getting to share.
Sansa, who was first but the learner and now finds herself as the master of deception, besting Baelish in his own game. It did seem like this whole twist was Baelish's to lose. He was basically a snake curled up in too many balls of yarn. He's betrayed all of the people that he has ever called a friend, enemy, lover, or an ally. And this shit finally fucking caught up with him. However, with Winterfell being one of the more problematic storylines this season, it feels like Peter shouldn't have fallen for such an oversimplistic setup. Like, as soon as Bran dropped some of that weird psychic shit on him, he should have been like, wait a minute. My Lord of Winterfell, you're wearing a wire, so it would seem that you're a human wiki of ice and fire of all the evil shit that I've done my entire life. I don't have much clout down south. The Vale doesn't already trust me, and they have a fucking Google search bar in a fucking wheelchair. You're like, okay, buddy, bye. This is mostly a byproduct of how rushed this season's felt. Basically because, I mean, they had 3 less episodes to develop this type of shit. And so while watching Baelish's breakdown in the halls of Winterfell, I felt like just making him grovel like a bitch was like satisfying, but a little bit easy. I mean, this is 7 seasons worth of deception, and you have a fantastic actor who I'm sure would love to sink his teeth into a slightly more complex scene. Allow him to have like a big fuck off monologue that sort of peels the onions of Baelish's narrative and lies as they're brought to bear. I mean, I wanted him to cry, but I also wanted him to get like self-righteous like Denzel in Training Day.
You think you can do this to me?
Or vindictive like Annie Wilkes in Misery.
And you better hope nothing happens to me. Because if I die, you die.
And then get angry and spiteful like Jack in A Few Good Men.
I'm gonna rip the eyes out of your head and piss in your dead skull! You fucked with the wrong Marine!
And then you finally bring in the waterworks. I mean, the impetus of Baelish's entire character is rooted in a jilted, low-born young boy whose rejection by the ruling class created his insatiable need to rule the system that mocked him his entire life. I mean, even his name, Littlefinger, is rooted in his first humiliation of Edmure Tully, who would taunt him for his small stature and his dainty little dancing steps, to the fighting and losing of a duel between Brandon Stark for Catelyn's hand in marriage when he was 15. It's all of these types of things that warped him into the sociopath that we know, hell-bent on climbing the ladder of chaos at whatever the cost. And it's this that makes him a kind of semi-tragic character and one of GOT's best villains. I mean, Baelish straight up is the Game of Thrones. And with the wall falling and all the big bad ice zombies finally coming over it, the game as we know it is coming to a fucking end. You were a conniving little shit, Baelish, but you were our conniving little shit. So after lining up an oh so convenient, luxurious Targaryen cruise ship, we get what is, in my opinion, the Indiana Jones 5 of sex scenes. No, they're not gonna do it. Are they gonna do it? They're doing, okay, all right. I mean, as soon as you heard travel by boat together, you knew that this stupid shit was fucking going down. John was hilarious. He looked like a high school trying to bullshit his parents into taking out the car past midnight because they're going to the late showing of the movie, when we really know that he's just trying to crawl his way to the top of Mount Dry Hump anyway. And then you got fucking Jorah sitting there looking at John like, God damn, this pretty boy motherfucker getting in on my game. I am so sorry, Khaleesi. I know that I'm stuck here looking like a lasagna bake with arms and legs. I will still be sitting by your side, furiously masturbating. And we sort of have this like intercutting between Bran and Sam finally putting all the pieces together about Jon's lineage, and that he actually has got the biggest and most rightful claim to the Iron Throne. I mean, I get that they are intrigued by one another and that they're both obviously hella hot, but I don't buy the fucking romantic angle one bit. I mean, most of their relationship thus far has been about winning each other's respect. And don't sell me on some fucking half-baked romantic tip. It's just like some kind of skinny ass white girl from like Maine or some shit trying to twerk. It ain't working, so just don't even bother. It was really kind of a blunt and kind of bro-y move. Now we have this new formed alliance that is now kind of combustible, because before they were simply allies, but now we have a piece of information that actually shows that Jon has a more rightful claim to the throne than Daenerys does. And there's gonna be conflict there anyway. I don't know, but they're both fucking hot, so they should bone, right? I mean, shit, if it's good enough for Pornhub, it's good enough for Game of Thrones, right? And plus, I was also half expecting for Tyrion to just like kick in the door and roll in like a disapproving parent catching a couple of teenagers. What is the meaning of this? Didn't I tell you? However good looking a man is, however beautiful his hair or pouty his lips, may not determine a man's adequacy in other forms. And you, Jon Snow, haven't you learned anything? Starks and their sexual partners don't fare well when their tongues travel south. Put some damn clothes on. No, my queen, you can stay. You know, but the whole thing is kind of just needlessly salacious and narratively convoluted. It's like the Cash Me Outside girls. Yeah, it's happening, and it's sort of hilarious and how fucking ridiculous it is.
These hoes I wake up, they begging. On the ground, they be fake flexing.
Kill it with fire! But, you know, my whole stance on Wincest at this point is that I'm taking a cue from one of cinema's great skeptics of the 90s.
Preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Hair down, diamonds on, need a peacoat. Heard the phases and then gotta speak like I ain't nothing like these hoes. Don't compare me to no one. Money green like a CeeLo. Yeah, my pocket's so swollen. I ain't nothing.
Once again, guys, I do want to say it has been an absolute blast covering this season in the couple new formats that I've opened up. Just shoot me a like, subscribe, comment, tell me I'm full of shit, tell me I don't know what I'm doing, tell me I do know what I'm doing. I like those comments better. We're going to start doing Watchers in the Bar episodes for Stranger Things. So if you guys want to, check the link in my Patreon page in the description, or you can find it in my top comment. And if we can get ourselves to $1,000 pledged, then we are going to go back and do an entire rewatch series with all the gang contributing. I think it can be a lot of fun. I think it's something that you guys can enjoy, and it can kind of help stave off, you know, the GOT withdrawal that we're all going through right now. And again, it has been an absolute pleasure. You guys have been great. So anyway, I'm signing off List of the Drunk Man for now, but you have not seen the last of me yet. So I'll talk to you guys later.